When the sun sets, it is time for the top stories from the day. Good evening and welcome to Sunset News, where we disseminate the latest news stories, community stories, economic news, weather, sports, and so much more. I am Glenora Shipura. Starting us off in the news tonight, chaos and long queues erupted at the Rundu post office earlier today as residents flock from villages to collect social grants, despite the rollout plan assigning different dates for old age, child disability and basic income grants. NAMPO's communications officer Joseph Theophilus urged the community to remain patient, highlighting that mobile teams are serving beneficiaries at their usual pay points and technical glitches with new machines have largely been resolved. With extra staff and additional post offices now operational, authorities say orderly queues will ensure everyone receives their funds without being turned away. Here's the full report.
We had communicated to the community that we also have the mobile teams that will go out in the community to serve the community. So the situation that is currently here is that everyone flocked from various villages or pay points to Rundu post office to get their social grants. However, we are really trying to communicate and speak to the community to bear with us and also be patient, because our mobile teams are out in the community to serve the community at the usual old pay points. So I would really like to ask the community in Rundu, in Kavango East and Kavango West to please bear with us. This is a very new project and it is quite new for everyone, for NAMPOst and also the community. However, we are really trying our level best to serve the community, both at the villages, visual pay points, and also at the post offices. We had a couple of technical glitches with our new and advanced machines that are serving the community at the mobile pay points. We identified the glitches and we are working towards solving those glitches. And as we speak, most of the vehicles here in Rundu, most of our machines that are installed in the vehicles, they've been solved, and the cars are in the community. So we urge and ask the community to please
The financial cash-strapped Opuwo Town Council needs at least $19 million to temporarily address its water supply challenges amidst its $48 million debt to NAMWater, as the council is forced to implement unsafe and unreliable measures to keep the taps running. The town's water crisis has led to NAMWater mixing the treated and untreated water in order to keep up with the demand. This is contained in a report provided by the town's CEO, Mashanjara Shihaura Katurota, who responded to an NMH inquiry following an investigation into the town's water challenges, where residents for the past 3 decades had to endure inconsistent supply of water. Apart from the inconsistent supply of water for decades, the quality of the water is not 100% fit for human consumption due to the existence of lime components in it, which also contributes to the damage of the water supply infrastructure. A recent visit to Opuwo, NMH was met with the water problem, a situation which has been accepted as normal by the residents since they had endured the water crisis for years. Some residents narrated their stories, saying that taps only run during the day, while at night and early mornings only air comes out of their taps. In our next story, Namibia is redefining the future of travel by introducing a concept that speaks not only to the eyes but to the heart: emotional intelligence tourism, or EQ tourism. It is an invitation to experience the country not as an escape from life, but as a return to it, a journey of presence, balance, and connection. At the launch of the EQ Tourism publication in Windhoek, the Deputy Director of Tourism Development, Elise Hashikutuva, speaking on behalf of the Executive Director of the Tourism Ministry, Sikongo Haimbo, said that EQ Tourism offers Namibia the opportunity to transform its identity. Eco-tourism is a combination of experience and growth. It aims to empower the Namibian tourism industry to combine knowledge about wildlife, plants, landscapes, and culture with life lessons that guests can apply to their personal and professional lives, helping them live more balanced and fulfilled lives. According to Haihambo, Namibia's natural beauty and cultural wisdom have always embodied emotional intelligence. He explained that travelers today are evolving and that they no longer seek mere sightseeing or souvenirs. Instead, they crave meaning and transformation. The publication by Siegfried Lange and several other authors is an initiative that marks the beginning of an extraordinary Namibian gift to the world, said Haihambo. Globally, the wellness tourism sector is one of the fastest growing travel categories, valued at over $1.3 trillion, according to the Global Wellness Institute. The Namibian College of Open Learning has awarded 525 scholarships for the 2024 academic year, representing less than 2% of its nearly 30,000 strong student body. These scholarships aimed at promoting access for vulnerable and marginalized learners includes 508 awards for secondary education students and 17 for tertiary program students. According to NAMCO's annual report, these scholarships were provided by a range of institutions. 14 TP students received scholarships from NAMCO, 3 TP and 103 SE students from the Commerce Regional Council, 62 SE students from the Northeastern region via the National Disability Council, and 343 SE students from the Social Security Commission, the report states. While the college highlights these initiatives as part of its efforts to support disadvantaged learners, overall student numbers grew slightly from 29,734 in 2023 to 29,917 in 2024, meaning the scholarship program reached only a small proportion of learners. NAMCO emphasized in its report that it endeavors to develop and put structures and systems in place to ensure equitable access to quality educational services and seeks to create a conducive, flexible environment and effective student support to enhance the teaching and learning experience. These scholarships intersect with broader government efforts to improve education, highlighted by Deputy Minister of Education, Dino Balotti. During the 24th tertiary program graduation at NAMCO last month, Balotti praised the college's role in extending learning opportunities beyond traditional classrooms. This institution has extended education into kitchens, cattle posts, informal settlements, and villages. It has restored confidence and offered second chances to young and old alike. He said, noting plans for NAMCO's transformation into an open university, a national priority supported by the ministry. He highlighted the government's increased budget for youth sports and the creative industries, which will fund internships, apprenticeship, and multi-purpose centers. Despite these initiatives, the limited number of scholarships at NAMCO relative to total student numbers highlights ongoing challenges in reaching all learners who face financial or social barriers. That concludes our top stories. On the other side of this, we take a look at the story of the day. In our story of the day, Police Inspector General Joseph Shikongo has confirmed that discussions are underway regarding the expansion of criminal records, a process that would allow certain records to be sealed or destroyed to improve employment opportunities for rehabilitated Namibians. Chikango made the remarks during a courtesy visit from the National Assembly Standing Committee on International Relations, Defense and Security on Monday, but emphasized that the final decision rests with lawmakers to amend relevant legislation. Legal experts stress that any expansion framework must be legally structured and guided by clear legislation. Human rights lawyer Norman Shombe said the debate on expungement is crucial for public protection and social justice. He stressed that the most serious offenses, such as rape and murder, should never be expunged. Minor offenses, however, could automatically lapse after a predetermined period. For instance, shoplifting for food of an amount of $100 million should not remain on a person's records forever and should certainly automatically lapse after 6 months, let's say, he said. Shombe added that different minor offenses may have different lapse periods depending on their severity. For offenses that are neither minor nor extremely serious, Shombe recommends a formal application process. Applicants should only be eligible after a substantial waiting period, such as 10 years from conviction, to ensure the individual has demonstrated rehabilitation. His framework aims to balance the rights of individuals to reintegrate into society with the need for public safety, particularly in employment and professional careers. Namibia's Ombudsman Basilius Ndakuyuka highlighted the human rights and career implications of maintaining permanent criminal records. Records do affect people's future in terms of human rights, he said. Ndakuyuka explained that even if a person committed an offense as a youth, the record remains, limiting access to formal employment and professional careers. He detailed that internationally, 2 mechanisms exist: non-disclosure, which seals records from institutional access, and expunction, which permanently removes them. We will be getting into our economic news shortly. Starting us off in economic news, the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology achieved full budget execution for the 2024-2025 financial year and mobilized $46.1 million in external grants to support national research and innovation programs. According to the NCRS Integrated Annual Report, the Commission utilized the entire $45 million government allocation within the reporting period, representing a 100% execution rate. The report highlights that all planned operational activities were implemented within the approved timeframe. In addition to government's funding, NCRST drew $12.5 million from external grants and expended $11.1 million, achieving an 89% execution rate on external funds. The combined operational budget execution rate for both government and external resources stood at 94%. A deficit of $2.3 million was recorded for the year, primarily due to increased expenditure on program activities and the recruitment of temporary employees. The Commission attributed this to growth in flagship initiatives such as the National Science Fair and Mathematics Olympiads, both of which recorded double the participation compared to the previous financial year. The report notes that NCRST will maintain its focus on cost control measures, targeted investment strategies, and diversified funding approaches to enhance financial sustainability. In our next story, the Kavango East governor met with beneficiaries of the National Youth Development Fund today, joined by the Development Bank of Namibia's Urundu branch manager Engelbert Linyando, who explained that the program aims to equip young entrepreneurs with financial literacy, mentoring, and sustainable business skills. He said DBN, Agribank, EIF, and other stakeholders form part of a steering committee chaired by the Minister of Finance, which meets weekly to track progress and refine implementation. Have a look.
A weekly meeting where we then update ourselves as to what are the changes from the previous announcements and how do we come up with a way forward as far as implementing all these projects concerned. Maybe just in a nutshell or briefly, the National Youth Fund, mainly the objectives is basically just to bring the youth to participate in the socio-economic development of the countries. So by then I think the government understood that a lot of the youth were excluded in taking part of the development of the country. So the government decided to come up with an initiative, a program of this nature, just to bring them in the mainstream. Okay. Another objective is that of enhancing financial literacy and investment readiness for access to funding. Okay. Skills and knowledge to run sustainable businesses, mentoring and coaching is one of the objectives. And of course, the main one is that of providing funding to the youth that have small, medium enterprises or medium, small, medium enterprises. And just basically to stimulate and support cultural and creative industry. So I think we have picked up in the media that, okay, so one of the aspects of this program is to fund.
That wraps up the economic news. Up next, the financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.24 against the euro at 20.20 against the US dollar at 17.35. 2 Namibian dollars and 43 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, gold, copper, and platinum went up, while Brent crude oil went down, trading at 0.95%, going for $62.10 per barrel. Starting us off in international news, Kenyan police have fired tear gas at huge crowds of mourners gathering at a stadium in the capital, Nairobi, to view the body of Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga after it had been flown from India, where he died. Gunshots were also fired, but it is not clear whether the police were using live ammunition or rubber bullets. Several people were reportedly injured in the chaos as security officers sought to disperse these surging crowds. Thousands of mourners carrying twigs and palm branches had earlier turned out to receive the body at the country's main airport. In a public outpouring of grief that forced a brief halt to flights, the authorities said mourners had gained access to restricted areas, prompting a precautionary closure that lasted about 2 hours. Because of the unexpectedly large crowds, the public viewing ceremony for his body was moved to Nairobi's Moi International Sports Center in Kasarani, rather than inside the Parliament building where it was earlier scheduled to take place. From the airport, thousands of people moved in a procession to escort the vehicle carrying the body to the stadium. About 10 kilometers from the city center, it arrived to a packed stadium with more people outside. After a large crowd breached a gate in the stadium, the police fired tear gas, sending masses of mourners rushing towards the exits. A BBC reporter at the scene also saw men in civilian clothing beating protesters with batons. At least 3 people were visibly injured, the AFP news agency reported. Up next is the weather predictions for tomorrow. The capital city can expect some showers with a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 31 degrees Celsius, while Katima Mulilo can enjoy sunny weather conditions with a minimum of 22 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 40 degrees Celsius. Oranjemund can expect a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 20 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy conditions, while Aranos can expect some showers with a minimum of 24 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. When it comes to the world of sports, I only trust one team to keep me updated with the sports news, and that is Sportsrep. Here they are with the sports news.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news first. It is the Japan Open, part of the WTA women's circuit that's taking place at the moment. Not a good day for some of the top seeds. That was in the round of 16. It was two of them, the third and fourth seed, that's out of the tournament in the round of 16. It was first number 3 seed, Elise Mertens of Belgium. She lost to Teresa Valenlova. The score there was 6-4 and 6-1, so she's out of the tournament. And also not good news for number 4 seed from Canada, that is Leila Fernandez. She also lost her game in the round of 16, and she lost to Dalma Gafli of Hungary, and the score there was 6-1 and 6-4. So the top seed that's left in the tournament is the local favorite Naomi Osaka. She's from Japan, of course, and she's showing good form, and she will play Jacqueline Christian in the quarter final. So that is a Japan Open part of the WTA Tour. Moving on to cricket news on international sports news, and it is the 50-over Women's World Cup that continues in India and Sri Lanka, and it has been rain affected the last few games in some of the games that was played. Again, it happened now when England played against Pakistan, so it was a lucky escape for England. It was England that batted first. They scored 133 for 9 in 31 overs, but they were 79 for 7 actually before the rain. Some of the first rain started, but in a reduced game to 31 overs, it was Pakistan that were already 33 without loss. Then the heavy rain came in, and the game was abandoned, so they shared the points. So England are still in the top 4 of the points table of the 8 teams, and they have 2 tough games to end their round robin games. They will play both India and Australia in their last games. Then to close off today's international sports news is Formula 1 racing news, and news from the Mercedes-Benz camp, and that is confirmed that it is George Russell and also Kimi Antonelli. They will both race for Mercedes-Benz, confirmed for 2026 season as well. There were lots of speculation that Max Verstappen might be lured away from the Red Bull Honda team to race for Mercedes-Benz, but at least for 2026 it's confirmed that it will still be George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, and it is the Formula 1 circuit that continues this weekend. It will be the American Grand Prix that will be there at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, and at the moment still it's Oscar Piastri that's leading on the points table in his McLaren, and Lando Norris just behind him also in McLaren, and Max Verstappen doing much better later in the season now. So that is international sports news for today. I hope you have a great sport day. We talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
That was Ari Hohad with the sports news, and with that we have come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for catching up on the top stories from the day with Sunset News. From me, Glenora Shipura. Until next time.